Welcome back, and thanks for tuning in again for another episode of Fear the Talking Heads. I'm here today with Wes. Thank you, Wes, for taking the time to chat with me about this fifth installment.
I had to give up part of my afternoon nap to do this.
I feel so special. Now, Wes has seen this movie more than once. It came out in '89, so we're not going to say how old I was then, but I was a kid. And I had only remembered as I'm watching it, I remembered two of the kills, but the rest of the movie, I'm thinking, I don't recognize this at all. So I don't know if it's one that my parents are watching that I kept sneaking a peek at or what. I don't recall. But the motorcycle part and the part with the girl at the dinner table, those are the two scenes that I was like, hey, I feel like I've
Yeah, I
seen
know.
this. But the rest of it was all new to me. And dare I say, I really liked this one. It had just like a darker tone to it and
It had
gothic-y.
it had a darker tone. And now the other thing I'll say, not because I can't remember them all in sequence, this one had a lot more effects that you weren't used to seeing in the other movies. And as near as I can tell, they weren't true digital, but somebody went into a lot of work to get those overlays just right. The scene when him and the kids are on the stairs and they're upside down like the old painting. It looked to me like somebody did a lot of editing to get that laid out like that.
I don't know if they had used an animatronic or something like that for baby Freddy.
This movie, they spent some money on it. That's
Yeah.
yeah.
Out of five through, from the beginning, it was the lowest grossing. So if you're new to this channel and you're just, the algorithms have sent you here and you're like, I don't even know what I'm watching right now. We tend to talk about underrated, underloved movies, but also we talk about cast reunions and such that are coming to ScareFest in October in Lexington, Kentucky.
I'm here today to talk about Beatrice Buckley.
Yes, so she's basically our highlight. There's three other people, obviously, from the movie that are going to be at ScareFest. We're talking Lisa Wilcox, obviously Robert Englund, Michael Bailey Smith. So those four from this particular movie, but there's over 20 coming. I kind of lost count now as to how
Yeah,
many are actually
I don't.
coming.
I didn't even see that one on the docket when we were starting to book this year. I had no idea when
Yeah.
they started part five. What?
I'm really glad we got Beatrice because that's what inspired me to actually watch this one. As an adult, I have not seen it in its entirety until now. So watching it, I just thought, man, this one's really cool. Having a different director, and now there's been six different directors through this entire franchise. So the really cool thing about that is you're getting all these different visions. Stephen Hopkins directed this, and he also brought us The Ghost in the Darkness. I don't know if you remember The Lions, Michael Douglas and Val
Mhm.
Kilmer. You remember that movie? So he
Yeah,
brought
that's
us that.
based on a true story where the Lions ate people building a railroad, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not
See, I
usual
watch
for,
movies.
yeah. You don't hunker down and get into the horror as much as we do, but you do watch movies, yeah. Oh, and the other movie that he had done, he's done a plenty, but the one that comes to mind too is Lost in Space, the one from 1988.
Okay, I wouldn't brag about that, but
You didn't like that one, really?
it was not fresh enough from the first one to set itself apart. It was looked like somebody said, "Oh, that would be a cool idea," and made a movie. I mean, yeah, and so I don't remember falling in love with it. I'll put it that way.
Well, I feel like if you're someone that enjoys artistic movies with a lot of style to it, something that's outside the box, I think people would really like this one in particular if they haven't seen
Hmm.
it already. This one follows the final girl from the fourth one, Alice, and we find out that she's pregnant. She's wondering how is she losing some of her friends again to Freddie, and come to find out it's her baby's dreams that are bringing him forth, and he's trying to influence this baby, this unborn child, so that he can be reborn, kind of like reincarnated, if you will, through this child. The kid that plays the part, I thought did a good job too.
Oh, the kid, yeah, I actually need to look him up. Even at that age, he looks so familiar. The kid was right on point. There was just something about the way they ended it that to me felt like that's the only thing they could come up with.
Okay.
I was not satisfied with how they defeated Freddy in this movie. I mean, the
Well,
effects were cool and the way they did it was cool, but as a point of the storyline, it was like, oh really? Yeah, okay.
And I don't know if you felt the same way, but the characters in this one, I actually cared about them and I didn't want them to get killed. Whereas there's been so many where it's like, oh, they're just there to get offed in a minute from Freddy.
No, now a couple of the characters were damn borderline unlikable. The model, her mother was the real villain behind that.
Yeah.
Um, I still didn't feel like she was an outstanding personality. Now maybe it was just character development. Maybe I didn't have time to get to know her because they bumped her off fairly early.
This one I feel really stands out in the entire franchise because of him wanting to do something more stylistic. There's a lot of imagery in this movie surrounding our main character, Alice, and her protective nature for her child and the
Mm-hmm.
responsibility of bringing this baby into the world. And I felt like they toned down on the Freddy stuff with this too. You didn't see as much of him, and they
You
didn't
didn't see as
make it.
much of him, but now when he was on screen, he was rocking it.
Yes.
The dialogue, of course, his little quirky comments that he makes. I felt that was, I'll say some of the best one liner quotes were scattered through it. His little snarky remarks about how he's going to kill you or whatever. I'm not saying it was necessary to beat the guy with his arm in the pickup truck, but there was some practical effects throughout the movie that I thought aged very well.
And it wasn't over the top. People have said, like, try not to make it so comical, try to make it darker. And I will defend to this day the reboot when it came out, even though it didn't have Robert in it. I defend it because it was actually kind of scary. This last weekend, I was at a convention, a horror con, and Robert Englund was on stage and he was even talking about how it was like a serious moment where he's going to gut someone or whatever with the glove. And then they have him say this funny line. And he said sometimes he wished that they would have pulled back on it. And they did pull back on it in this one.
I don't know that what you're talking about though was so intended to get a laugh out of the audience back then. I think that was the writer's way of trying to show how little this guy cared about what he was doing.
Well, that's a good point.
It wasn't just, oh, I'm going to say this would be, I don't care about life. I don't care about your life. Here's a blade. Uh,
Here's a blade. There you
yeah.
go. Have a blade. They go into a little bit more of Amanda Kruger as Freddy Krueger's mama. They go into her backstory a little bit more than what we've seen, where she's, in the accidentally locked into this room with 100 maniacs.
Oh, now here's a spoiler. When they show that scene, you can tell which one's actually the dad. Putting Robert in that scene, it's like, there's dad.
Baby Freddy. Wait till you see it. It's
But see,
fantastic.
okay, now that scene actually, I guess I knew because it was a dream. But at the same time, up until this point, in other words, Freddy was not supernatural until he was dead. He was just your common, killer. That scene, the way it was presented, is, I mean, I have to take it that, okay, that's the way he wanted her to see it, but that wasn't how that part happened.
Right.
Otherwise, it blows the whole franchise for me. Because I would have noticed that guy living a block down.
That's the thing too. I was thinking about that with these franchises, how it changes. And that's with any of them, really. You go into the Friday the 13th, how they try to, kind of play around with the lore a little bit to give you a little bit more depth and characters. And some of the directors are like, I don't really care what came before this. I'm gonna make my own thing up. And and that's
But
fine.
let's just say you could pick Freddy out of his baby pictures, according to this movie.
Yes. It made me chuckle. It was actually kind of funny, but yeah, I mean, I feel like with the role, like Beatrice's role as his mom, it's very serious. It's
Oh,
not,
yeah.
there's nothing funny about it. Some of the movies wink to the audience in some scenes, but I thought she played a really good role in this, and it had her scattered throughout. It was one of those, like sometimes you'll see an actor or actress in a role, and you've said this before, where you see him for like a whole 10 seconds, and then you don't see him for the rest of the movie. But you do see Beatrice in this role.
She did at the beginning
Yeah.
and the end. She had big
Yeah.
parts.
A
So I'll
small
give
bit in
that a
the
pass.
middle. Yep, a small.
I would have loved
Mhm.
to see more of her,
Yeah.
even in the nun costume. Not my personal kink, but anything to see her.
Yeah, she's going to be wearing that nun costume too
Yeah, yeah.
at ScareFest. So she said she'll sweat for us at ScareFest. I imagine it gets warm under there.
I've never asked a nun.
Some of the deaths in there that were kind of creative, like the comic book death.
What I remember about
Yeah.
the comic book day, it started off in a way I liked it,
Hmm.
but then it just to me it just I guess I got tired of doing whatever you got to do to a camera to make it give you that image. I used to be able to do it with my photo editing program. I would have liked to have seen it kept that character all the way through that scene. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The two tone all the way through. You know, once she got
Oh,
in the house, it shifted.
that is true. And yeah, because it reminded me, it started off almost like that. Do you remember that music video for Take
Mm-hmm.
On Me?
That was a
Uh-huh.
big deal when that
Yeah.
video came out.
Yeah, it
I
was.
remember it. What if they killed her off in this movie? What type of hair raising stink would that have caused?
Because she was pregnant.
Yes.
But you
And
know,
yeah,
people don't even talk about this, but not to bring another movie into it, but Friday the 13th Part 3, they killed off someone that was pregnant. People never, no one ever talks about that. And I'm like,
yeah, but we
how
see
did we
by this.
not
Okay, we were already we already were invested in this one. This fetus. We were in. It was named. My God, we knew
Yeah, that's
we it
true.
for the
Yeah.
name was foreshadowed. It was our baby by the end of the movie.
Like that line that he said, "Well, it's just my friend with the funny hand." I'm like, yeah, yeah.
The Freddy makeup on the kid looked better than the Freddy makeup on Freddy. It was that good. I don't really mean literally,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
mean it was more jarring when they showed when he turned around and and he taken after daddy, you might say.
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting one, and I'm really surprised I liked it as much as I did. It focuses more on Alice. It puts a spotlight on her. And
Mm-hmm.
then, like you said, the moments where we do have Freddy Krueger step in is more impactful. I have to rewatch them both again, but I think I liked it better than three. Dream Warriors has been my favorite for I don't even know how long of the sequels.
But I always thought that was just the way the characters learned to develop behind the dream. I think
Right.
that's what I liked about that.
Yeah, and rewatchability, I know I would rewatch it. You'll
I
rewatch it at
I've
some point.
rewatched it like 3 or 4 times,
Yeah.
but years between, it's not one I'd mind watching when I need to do a little research so that I can still take Netflix off of my taxes. Yeah.
There you go. If you're watching this and you're very new to the channel, Wes and I will be interviewing Beatrice Buckley. So if you want to see what Beatrice is up to, head over to ScareFest TV and check that out because
And
Wes will have
and
it
if you didn't
uploaded.
watch my show, you'll be wondering what I did for an hour, and the answer is slobber over Beatrice Buckley.
Yes.
I think I'm going on record as saying she's the most beautiful woman on earth, inside and out.
I'm sure she's very flattered.
Until the restraining order is ready, anyway.
And what is she doing this year at ScareFest? She is going to be teaching some yoga. She called it
Well,
stretch class in
well,
23, I
that's
think.
just when yoga scares people away. It's
I
chair
don't know
yoga for the most
why.
part. At
Yeah.
least what we did, it was chair yoga. And it actually, no, I didn't. Not it's not like I kept up with it, but yeah, it actually she was giving the everybody exercises that would make a con weekend go a little easier on your body, including your hips will hurt or your feet will hurt. Yeah, that's kind of what she was aimed at, and there were some twists and some of them actually say, "Oh, you do it," and you go, "Oh my God, that actually did make my spine quit screaming."
And she does it on Sunday mornings, which I remember in 23 was a little hard to get to, but I think it's the way that it's placed is kind of
I
good,
was
actually.
there.
Yes, I
See, but I'll
remember.
probably have to miss that this year.
No.
Yeah,
Seriously, why?
I do not think those people know how can line up without me.
Are you being serious? You're not going to
I'm
go to
being
chair
serious.
yoga?
We'll see how it goes Saturday, but I
Ah,
am telling you, everybody, what we're talking about now is, of course, if you're not a fan of ScareFest TV, I helped line build last year, and people complained when I left to do my other normal jobs. They
did they
said everything was
really?
going fine until Wes left.
I didn't know about that.
Well, I mean, it wasn't like a throng of people, but people said that.
You're like, it was noted.
Right. If I can get away Sunday morning, I will go.
Yes, I definitely think
But
you
if
should
I
go.
if human nature kicks in and those people can't figure out how to form a goddamn line,
So if you want to see Wes forming lines, come out to ScareFest in
and I'll be in
October.
cosplay. I
Yes,
bought cosplay just for that day.
good, because I don't think you were dressed last year in any
Well, I
cosplay.
wasn't. I was no, not cosplay. I was dressed.
You're like, I was dressed. I didn't come in my birthday suit or anything.
All right. Don't want to run people off, but yeah, this year I'm returning to wearing eye-catching stuff.
Are you gonna wear any of the sequin stuff?
Oh yeah, I'm wearing that Friday and Saturday. Yeah.
Okay, cool, cool. All right, so if you've hung out with us this long, definitely check out Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Fear the Talking Heads.